All right, guys. I think we ended. We'll finish with the Vlad interview that I did yesterday for those that didn't get to see it, and I think we'll end it there. I probably need to get some sleep, dude. You guys can hear it in my voice. Like, I haven't got sick and I haven't got sick. I haven't got sick since I had. Now that I say this, I'm probably gonna get sick. I haven't got sick since I had COVID in August of 2022. Like, I've been good for almost 2 years, so I want to make sure I stay good. So I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back on the close. Here's the Vlad interview from last night. It's about 7 minutes. So if anyone wants to stay and watch it, you can watch it. And then I'll be back on the close. And that's it. All right, here we go. Here is the interview, and then we'll be done for today.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm here.
All right.
Vlad Tenev. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm here at the Robinhood offices in the Bay Area with CEO and co-founder of the company, Vlad Tenev. We just finished their Q4 earnings. Congrats on incredible earnings.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think it was informative. It was obviously a good quarter, which we're proud of. But I'm also proud of like the earnings call itself. I think that we've always kind of stood for more participation by retail analysts such as yourself being kind of on a level playing field with institutional. So I thought it was informative, but also hopefully fun too.
Yeah, so that was going to be my first question. What was the impetus to invite retail analysts on the call? And do you think that is a trend that more companies are going to embrace in the future?
Well, the first idea that we had was to make it video. We've been talking about that for a long time. And, you know, I was watching the replay of what an experience for a retail shareholder listening to the earnings call would be. And in the last quarter, you know, you have to kind of like go through this website, you have to dial in, or you could go to guys such as yourselves who are live streaming it, right, where you just have this blank screen with the Robinhood logo. You know, it was the old logo before we updated it. And it was just a little dry. It was a little boring. So we thought we would amp it up a little bit and make it more interesting. Because, you know, the last thing we want is people to get bored at our earnings calls and not listen to them.
Right.
Or feel like listening to them is this chore that they have to do. So I think we started with that idea. We wanted to do video. We thought about live audience, but I think it was a little bit early for that. But, you know, once you have video, then you have to figure out how are people dialing in. You want people to ask questions. And then I think everyone kind of realized that Investor Day worked so well with the combination of institutional and retail analysts that we tried to kind of bring back some of that energy in the earnings call. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't have it. I think that as much as you guys are asking smart questions, the institutional investors ask smart questions too. Why do we have to make it complicated and have multiple queues and handle it differently?
Yeah, I thought it was a no-brainer. It was exciting. We had 5,000 people watching live, and they were excited watching you and Jason act as if you were star NBA players that just crushed Game 7. So it was really cool. What is the culture like at Robinhood? Why do people like working for you?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd have to ask them, but I can tell you what we look for in people. We look for people that are driven, that they want to have an impact and be rewarded disproportionately based on their impact and not based on seniority or how big of an org they manage. I think a lot of companies, when they recruit talent, they look for things like, oh, I want someone that's managed a big team so that they can handle the scope that this job is going to expect of them. So you'll see that in the recruiting processes. You kind of look for scope and headcount as a proxy to that. I think we instead look for who are people that have actually achieved a lot with as few people as possible.
Right.
And I think just that simple thing is a big differentiator. If you maximize for scope, you do tend to get people that, you know, like building big teams, and big teams, I think, are much less efficient than small, nimble teams of people that can move incredibly fast. Right. So we try to align incentives from how we recruit to how we performance manage and compensate. And you know, it's not perfect, but I think we made some improvements, and we have a great culture. I think that everyone here just really wants to win. So I think we have the team to drive significant impact.
So speaking of winning, last question for you, Vlad. This was one of those quarters that, to me, it's kind of an inflection point in the business. $1 billion in revenue. I mean, it's quite substantial. I think it's growing up and becoming a very mature company. Is Robinhood a generational company to you?
Well, I hope not. If by generational you mean, you know, that we're only relevant to millennials.
Right.
I think one of the things we feel very strongly about is we don't want to get stuck into just doing the things that worked for millennials. People change, priorities change, the way people are engaging with finance is changing. I mean, you look at Gen Z, they're kind of deviating from millennials in a lot of ways. You're a Gen Zer yourself. You probably look at us millennials like, you know, ancient, like we were around before flat screen computer monitors, right?
You actually have DVDs, you know.
I had VHS.
Yeah, there you go.
Laserdisc. I had a Laserdisc player. So yeah, I think it's dangerous to get stuck in what worked with one generation. I think the discount brokers, the incumbents, are kind of playing defense there. Everyone sees that this is a huge opportunity. I think we have to continue to reinvent ourselves and make sure that we're relevant to every generation. That's a big focus. I think the best way to do that is to make sure we lean into our strengths, which is technology and design, and continuing to talk to customers rather than like thinking about what products we want and only building those.
Right. Vlad, thanks for taking the time to do this. So at the end of a really good basketball game, the MVP tends to get the game ball. And I wanted to give you something. So on my market open and market close and live streams, I ring a bell.
Oh, nice.
Major milestones. And today, we had to ring this bell many, many times to celebrate Robinhood's accomplishments. So I wanted to give it to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
A bell for you. And hopefully this is the bell you keep for the quarter that you guys got to $1 billion in revenue for the first time.
I love it. Yeah.
It would be a bigger cowbell, but I left that at home, so I've been using small ones. So
this is good. It's an appropriate, you know, we got to stay humble. Can't get too complacent. Got to get to 10 billion if I want the big bell, right? Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you. And, you know, there's hopefully I see Q out there. Q's the real MVP. I mean, the brokerage business and crypto as well drove a lot this quarter. So I'm sure they'd love to see you too.
Robinhood CEO and co-founder, the man, the myth, the legend, Vlad Tenev. Thanks for doing this, Vlad.
Thanks, man.
That was cool, dude. That was super cool. If anyone comes to the meetup today, you're gonna get a little bell as well. So for those that show up, you will have your own bell. But that was super cool. That was fun. It was really cool too. I walked in and like he gave me a hug. It wasn't even like a, you know, I reached out for a handshake and he gave me a hug. So I think the culture I think they're huggers, bro. Because Beju, who's his co-founder that I met on Monday, as soon as I saw him, I went to give him a handshake and he gave me a hug as well. As like a big hug. Like it's like I was like, oh, it wasn't even just like one of those guy hugs where you like, you know, you put your arm. It's like, no, like a real hug. And I'm like, oh, these guys are huggers. Like this culture is like a hugging culture. You know, it's like I could. It was the same exact hug that Beju gave. It was one of those like, you know, monster hugs. And I'm like, oh, wow. So these guys, they probably grew up, you know, 10 years building this company with a lot of love and just like passion and energy. And I think they lead the company with that passion and energy. And that's why there's only 2,200 employees doing $3 billion in revenue. I mean, to get that, you got to have tough love and really get the best out of your people. But you also have to have a lot of passion for people to get them to care. Essentially hippies. Yeah. I mean, they are born and raised in California. Actually, no, Vlad went to high school in Virginia, but he went to Stanford for like 6-7 years. So he probably became a hippie during that time. Plus, they're all on a winning spree, good vibes all around. Yeah. Yeah, dude, Vlad was really happy. He was really, really happy. I mean, he was like, you could tell he knew this quarter was that quarter. And he was very happy that they're actually putting up these results. And again, the earnings call with retail on it. I mean, I think they executed it really well and the market's rewarding them now as they're doing what they're doing.